October month is thriving with all these crazy stories. Yet another gruesome story straight out of Detroit. Police find 63 fetuses in a funeral home amid a probe. Yes, you've heard it. So this is Detroit police officers who use the crime scene tape to cordon off the area while they execute a search warrant at a Perry funeral home in Detroit on Friday, October the 19th, 2018. Police removed the remains of 63 fetuses from the funeral home, and regulators shuttered the business amid a widening investigation of alleged improprieties at local funeral home. Detroit AP police removed the remains of 63 fetuses from a Detroit funeral home, and regulators shuttered the business amid a widening investigation of alleged improprieties at a local funeral homes. Detroit Police Chief James Craig said officers found 36 fetuses in boxes and 27 others in freezers during Friday's raid at the Perry Funeral Home. He said that he was stunned by what he saw, the discovery, which came a week after the remains of 10 fetuses and one infant were discovered in a ceiling at Detroit's defunct Cantrell Funeral Home. Those remains were found after state regulators in Lansing received an anonymous letter. Michigan Lansing and the Regulatory Affairs said that the remains found at the Perry Funeral Home were turned over to the state investigators, who immediately declared the funeral home closed and its license be suspended. In fact, inspectors for the State of Michigan Corporations, Securities and Commercial Licensing Bureau said in a statement that they had found heinous conditions and negligence at the Perry Funeral Home, including numerous failures to certify death certificates and obtain proper permits for burials. The agency's statement said that Friday's findings point clearly toward criminal offenses of state laws regulating funeral homes that could be felonies, punishable by imprisonment for not more than 10 years or a fine of not more than $50,000 or both. Craig said that the investigation into the Perry Funeral Home began after a man who has sued that business over its handling of the remains of infants and fetuses saw coverage of discoveries at the Cantrell Funeral Home and told his attorney to contact the police. The lawsuit filed in July alleges that the Perry Funeral Home stored the remains of stillborn and live birth babies in the Wayne State University School of Mortuary Science morgue for up to 3 years without trying to notify parents, some of whom wanted to donate the body for medical research. It also alleges that the funeral home may have fraudulently billed Medicaid as well as the Detroit Medical Center for burials it never performed. The attorneys in the suit, Peter J. Parks and Daniel W. Slack, said that they believe many more infants' remains may be found in the improper possession of the Perry Funeral Home, perhaps as many as 200, based on the research of logbooks kept by the Wayne State University School of Mortuary Science. I'm really wondering where all the rest of them are. C. Slack said on Friday. Craig said that law enforcement agencies were considering forming a task force to stop storage of remains and fraud in the area. As a part of investigators' widening probe, Detroit police also raided another funeral home, the Q&A Cantrell Funeral Home in suburban Detroit's East Point, along with a home in Grosse Pointe Woods. The recent discovery of the 10 fetuses and one infant at the Cantrell Funeral Home came after state inspectors in April shuttered that the business after finding 21 improperly stored bodies, some of them covered in mold in the facility. Since April, 38 unattended bodies and 269 containers of cremated remains have been discovered in the facility. This is really gruesome. Sorry to bring this to you, but it's another one of the horror stories right in October. And this is the investigators and the police at the Perry Funeral Home right here, where it is yellow taped off. Very gruesome and disgusting October horror story. Thanks for listening.